The Lives of the Saints by Father Alban Butler. May 9th. St. Nicholas, Bishop of Lincopen in Sweden, confessor. Herman and Margaret, the parents of our saint, were citizens of Skänningen in Sweden and held a distinguished rank in the country, which they rendered more illustrious by their virtue. But their care, Nicholas was imbued from the cradle with the perfect spirit of Christian piety and taught to dread nothing so much as whatever could tarnish the robe of innocence and grace with which he had been clothed in the sacred laver of baptism. In these happy dispositions, he studied at home the first elements of grammar, and while yet very young, was sent to Paris in order to accomplish himself in the sciences. Thence he removed to Orleans, where he both completed his theological course and took his degrees in civil and canon law. Perfectly qualified by learning and virtue for the service of the church, he returned home and was soon after appointed Archdeacon of Lincopen. His whole life was a perfect sacrifice of penance and devotion. On Fridays he took no other nourishment than bread with a little salt and water, and sometimes passed that whole day from Thursday evening till Saturday noon without food. In the discharge of his office he suffered with unshaken constancy and patience many grievous persecutions from the tyranny of great men and incorrigible sinners, reformed the manners of the savage and ignorant people, and established the rules of virtue and ecclesiastical discipline. Herbert, the first bishop of Lincopen, some pretend to have been contemporary with Charlemagne, but the more accurate antiquaries place him about the year 1000, something younger than Saint Sigfrid. The history of the bishops of Linkopen in Swedish verse informs us that Godskok, the 16th bishop of Linkopen, dying, St. Nicholas was advanced to that see. This dignity was a fresh spur to his zeal in promoting the divine honor and to his fervor in every religious exercise. Raised above all views to his own private interest, in everything he laid himself out for the service of God and his neighbor, and for the maintenance of peace among all men. His meekness and patience were proof to all trials, and prayer and heavenly meditation were to him a source of spiritual light, comfort, and strength. The study of the Holy Scriptures was principally his private entertainment. Out of the most useful sentences of the canon law and fathers, he compiled an excellent book, which he called Hutbook. He wrote short comments on the morals of St. Gregory, certain works of St. Anselm, and the writings of Saint Bridget, whose canonization he warmly promoted, but died in the year in which that affair was finished. He wrote the lives of Saint Bridget, Saint Ansgarius, and some other holy servants of God, and compiled a book of flowers out of the Psalms. How highly Pope Urban VI honored his sanctity appears from a letter written by that Pope in 1381, quoted by Benzelius. His successor, Bishop Canute, speaks of his sanctity with great veneration. St. Nicholas died in our Lord in 1391, and was honored in Sweden among the tutelar saints of the kingdom with St. Sigfrid, St. Brynolf, St. Bridget, St. Helen of Skoduk, St. Catherine, and St. Ingrid of Skänningen, who died in 1282, who are invoked together in the prayer of the Mass of the Feast of St. Nicholas in the old Swedish missal quoted by Benzelius. See the long particular office and lessons in honor of this saint, formerly used in the Church of Lincopen, printed in Söderkoppen in 1523, and republished by Benzelius in his Monumenta Ecclesiae Suevo Gothicae.